Will, let's go ahead and go into this offensive performance of this ball game. 23 points. Yes, that was nice. Honestly, first and foremost, we didn't have B-Rob. We know how much of a force he is with that run game, but also what he does is it takes pressure off of Jaden and allows us to open up our play action, and it gives us more of a wide open offense. I think Ekeler, we all looked at as kind of a third down back, so he only had, I believe, like 22 yards in this game. So us not being able to run the ball became a problem as we went down the line. But again, like they're saying, we have a quarterback. Jaden had, I believe, his best performance passing with almost 270 yards in the air, 24 of 35, 2 TDs. So he did what he had to do, but I just think it's such a big issue. I've talked about it all year. If that run game is not successful, if it's not proved to be a threat, then that defense line, and those linebackers can pin their ears back and just come right after the quarterback. And Jaden, for how mobile and his ability to escape the pocket and escape pressure, in this game, they had fast linebackers. They had guys that were spying on him and forcing him to beat them. He did his best, but wasn't able to break loose like we've seen in some of those other games. Will, what do you think?
Yeah. So since we got our buddy on here, I think one of the things that Washington has been able to do is they've created an identity by running the ball and taking some of that off of JD5's plate. And what was kind of interesting is in this game, that didn't seem to be part of the game plan. Nate's talking about how we got a little one-dimensional, and it was almost, I wonder if it was by choice. So, Baltimore has the number one rush defense. So you knew that was going to be tough. And running against Travis Jones and Matabuke, I think I said it correct, is not easy. But we only gave 11 carries to our running backs, Ekeler and McNichols. And that's kind of surprising because McNichols still did some things against Arizona. They're different opponents, but to not keep going back to that a little bit more did surprise me. I certainly am not here for the Ron Rivera era where it's like, let's run it on first down, let's run it on second down, and they both get stuffed. And so now it's 3rd and 11, and Sam and Taylor are just chucking it to try, so that wasn't effective. But over the course of a game to only have 11 carries to running backs, that's also kind of a little bit questionable in the game plan. And that's where I don't know if the idea was basically they were like, hey, listen, we know this is going to be challenging. We don't have our best running back. And so we know this is going to be a challenge. So we are going to focus on the pass, and maybe that was the case. And, they did that. They continue to do what they do on offense, which is spread the ball around. Ertz with 4 catches, Brown with 4 catches, Terry with 6, OZ with 4. But I think the fact that, and I don't think not having B-Rob would have been like a huge difference maker, but they just didn't try to continue to run the ball. And that really surprised me.
Right. And I think where Nate said right here is that I think this game identified that Austin is a pass catcher with B-Rob. Offense became one-dimensional. And I think he's right. I mean, to that point, when you have B-Rob back there, I think the other side might know the run is coming, but B-Rob, one of the things Brian Mitchell was said is even if he's running, he falls forward for those 2 or 3 extra yards. And that plays a big role in the offense. Look, we're not a drop back passing team. It's almost so funny that I'm about to say this, but it's almost like Dak and the Cowboys, his rookie year, where they went 13-3 and Dak did enough. But Zeke was a monster in that run game. Yeah. That O-line was sufficient. They were able to move the ball, which opened up that play action and opened up that pass game. And then to your point, we still spread the ball around. And Nate was saying it last week that, he wasn't necessarily trusting his secondary as much. And we were able to move the ball around up and down the field. But with us not having that consistent run game, it showed in certain areas. 3rd downs, we were 4 of 12. You know what I mean? We only went for the 1 4th down, but still, when you're 4 of 12, when you're that low on the 3rd down percentage after being so high coming into this game, it shows we're not staying on the field. We're trading field goals for touchdowns. We'll talk about us receiver a little bit later, but with a team like this, and we said the same thing in week 1 against the Buccaneers, with a playoff team, you cannot trade field goals for touchdowns. You can't do that in these type of games. So for however good Jayden did, for however good our receivers and we were able to get out, they really kind of knew what the game plan was. And it was, we limit the run, but make Jayden beat us. And he did what he could do, but we needed some help in other places. So it was frustrating. But again, you got to look at it from a positive perspective. You know what I mean? This was not a blowout. Our offense was able to move the ball against a solid defense. We know, like you said, number one rush defense. So, yes, they did what they do, but we were able to move the ball in the air. And I'm proud about that. I really genuinely kind of come away from this game like you, being very encouraged and feeling like, okay, these guys can run with them if we can consistently play well, but we need that run game.
Right. Well, especially the fact that even if you're down 27-13, what you also saw is that the team didn't give up, and part of it is because they do believe in who they have at quarterback, giving them a chance. But it's also the makeup of this team is literally like, all right, things aren't going so well, but we're going to keep going after it. And, and they got a touchdown to make it within a 1-score game. They had the ball again with a chance to come, drive down to tie the game up. And, they fell short. But again, this is a good test. The types that we have been beating bad teams. And now we finally got a chance to get tested, and you're only going to get better from these games. JD5 is going to find stuff out there that he wished he could have done, and better. And so is good that we had this game to use as a benchmark, a barometer, and to learn from.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We did good. Our line still did good. Only gave up 3 sacks. Our penalties hurt us. Especially untimely penalties. We had 6 for 46 yards. And one of the things that we harped on the last couple of weeks, the last 4 weeks when we were winning, we won the time of possession battle. We lost the time of possession battle by about 13 minutes, So obviously that has to do with their run game. Yeah. And it has to do with us not being able to stay on the field. But that plays a major role in a game where one of the things that we talked about coming into this game was keeping the ball, keeping their offense off the field, and giving us a chance on offense. And we came up a little bit short there, but hey, now we go back to the drawing board and we see what we can do. Some of them, yeah. I agree.
I think that one on St. Juice when the receiver was falling down, that's a really tough one to take.
That was terrible.
That was a pretty that was a very big moment in the game.
Right.
Yeah, that one was tough.
That was terrible, especially when you look at the clip. Go ahead.
Right. And so Nathan's asking if we thought if Tampa was a test, asking that. And I certainly do, but I think there's a big difference between a rookie quarterback in his first game versus this was what is this now, week 6? It was week 6, I think. Yeah. So too much has happened since then. So yeah, absolutely. But and also let's be honest, 2 playoff teams we've lost to. You and I aren't going around here saying Super Bowl right now. We're saying, hey, they're surpassing expectations right now, but we are still a work in progress. When we get to one of our next segments, we're going to talk about what we, maybe are there ways to improve this team before the offseason, but this was never Super Bowl aspirations like Baltimore. So, we also got to stay grounded in reality here.
Right. No, absolutely agree. Absolutely not. And I will say that some Washington fans have turned into Dallas fans by saying we're playoff contenders, we're X, Y, and Z. Pump your brakes, people. I've already had to discuss this with some of y'all. Pump your brakes because we got some things we got to work on. We do. And that's one of the things that I think we've seen in this game. And when they go back and look at film, you start to look at, we have pieces with what we have right now. We have pieces that can succeed. But again, little things, we just attention to detail, little things we got to correct and we got to be healthy. We have to be healthy to get in there. So, and we aren't there yet. No, I don't think we are, but it feels good because we're doing what we're supposed to do in those other games. And in these games, we showed up. We look good. So I'm happy with.
Well, here's the other thing to be thinking about after this loss. Prior to this game, NBC wanted to flex us to Sunday Night Football. The CBS team just moved us from the 1 o'clock to the 4 o'clock. That's during trunk or treat. I'm really mad right now that they're putting Nance and Romo on the game. So, when we go and play the Bears. So we go from no one wants us on Monday night. Don't put the Commanders on primetime to now it's we are becoming a team that the league wants to showcase. So that is the progress that we're talking about.
Oh yeah. Everybody's still looking at us. Everybody's still loving on Jaden. And hey, it proved that we're getting there. We're getting there.